Colin. These are the options. These are the options. Used to be employee, now these are the options. I gotta make it to make it. I gotta make it to make it.
Entrepreneur, noun. Someone who jumps off a cliff and builds a plane on the way down. This is something that hangs next to my office. But today I brought it for this episode because this episode of the Colin with Colin Show is specifically for young entrepreneurs, young CEOs that are starting off. Today's call is going to go over 4 things. Year 1 pitfalls that you should watch out for, how to build the right team, overcoming losses, and how to keep focused when you feel like you've lost hope, because we all go through it. And number 4, why it's important to find your why and how that's going to help you win. And today's guest is calling in from New Jersey, Ronak Shah, who serves as the CEO of Obvi, which is today's fastest growing collagen brand in the industry with over 1 million customers, sold in 72 plus countries, and generating over 8 figures in top line revenue. Man, this guy is crushing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ron Shah to the show.
So Colin, if you could travel back to day 1 of your startup, and if you have 15 minutes with your former self back then to communicate any lessons you acquired with the intention of saving yourself mistakes, what would you tell yourself, a former self back then?
Yeah, great question. And so many different things come to mind. I would say the first thing would be to be very conscious about titles and positions to different people as you're growing the organization. And then I would tell my former self to invest in the right people, because it's really people that drives the business. And one of the biggest things for me that I learned was through a lot of challenging setbacks, essentially. And I hired a recruiting firm, which ended up being the best decision I ever did. So I also wish that I had learned a little bit more about the marketing ad side, coming from the social influence and working as a talent, but not behind the brand. I never really saw behind the curtain. I wouldn't change too much about it, but I did lose a lot of money on the front end because I wasn't properly excluding audiences. So I would do customer acquisition on paid placements and not exclude, or I would geofence the United States, but it also had or visited location in. So those are some very, very small things that come to mind. Would be hiring the right talent, be very, very responsive of who is in certain roles. Is it the right person, right role, or wrong person that you just need to get rid of? And that would kind of be my quick 15-minute cap to myself. So
that's awesome. That's really helpful. To touch off that question, what's your best advice when hiring or recruiting certain team members? And in more detail, I love the suggestion of hiring a recruiting firm. But when it comes down to the actual person and you're sitting across this person and you look at them and obviously they're going off of you're going off their skill set that they're saying they have, and you're going off of, prior work experience they have. But how do you really know how this person's going to fit into your culture and what your expectations and requirements will be? Besides it kind of being hey, partly maybe guess or gut, but curious to know how your, chain of command goes and thought process there.
yeah, I love it. So it's really going to depend on the position that I'm trying to void fill. What I would say is resumes to me don't really matter. I don't care too much about the former education. I care a lot more about the person. I care about their integrity. I care about the way that they carry themselves. I care about, do they show up right time, right place? If not, there must be a valid excuse. Flat tire, something happened. If they're late to an interview, I would just call off the interview. So I think that there's just some red flags right off the bat that I'm looking for. Let me give you an example though. We hired a guy, we kind of do open rounds of interviews for general labor positions. And we interviewed probably 15 or 20 people. This was a few years ago. And this guy he was autistic, and you could tell something was off. And he had never had a job before, didn't have much on his resume. And I remember the conversation, and all he said was, all I want is a chance. That's it. And I said, you know what, brother? I'm going to give you a chance. Somebody has to. And so I think a lot of it is just based on who I am as a person. Does it align from a value standpoint? I would rather have somebody that's not as talented, but that's more hungry and ambitious. Some of the most talented people you see on resumes, they know that they can go anywhere else. They know it. So they can become extremely complacent. So it's a hard balance between the two. I would rather have somebody that's hungry, ambitious, somebody that I can nurture and kind of like sculpt, and that's hungry for wanting whatever the vision is. The vision for me at Redline is to become the largest skyscraper in the home decor industry. So that's my vision. And it's not just within steel. It's within lottie-dottie everybody's house that is a home decor product. It could be rugs, it could be wall art decor, it could be furniture. You know, when they think of Redline, by definition, like fastest, furthest point considered safe, like I want them to think about, when they see home decor, they think, oh, that must be Redline. And so that's what my vision is. So conveying that, if they can buy into it and see it, you know, then that's really big for me. But obviously, like certain key positions, you're looking at a financial controller, then I would look into more of a resume perspective. Love referencing, and not necessarily people that they put on their resumes, but interviewing directly and asking them in person, who are some of your past supervisors, write down like their names or whatever. And then at the end, like recap who they are and then try to touch base with those people. Because who they put on their reference guide, those are gonna be the best people who are gonna talk great about you. But at the end of the day, like if you bring it up like subtly and they have no clue that you're actually gonna do some due diligence, and then touch base with those that actually reported directly from a supervisor's perspective, would you wanna hire this guy again? Like that's what I wanna know. How was this person in the workplace? So.
I like that. That's great. That's it's a lot of gems in there. So I appreciate that. I loved one of your videos that kind of talked through the journey of how you initially started and then how you almost lost it all, and then kind of the come up after that. Businesses that have second lives almost, like I feel like have the best journeys because you literally came so close to death and you almost probably faced it. Can you give me a short version of your overall win and loss record, and what that looks like, and maybe do you carry it with you every day to remind you?
Yeah, so man, I remember 2018, best fourth quarter we had ever had as a business. It was a perfect storm. It was something that was outside of your control, something that literally there's no other plan in place that could have happened to make it any worse of a situation. So for context, we had a massive screw compressor go out. The screw compressor was almost brand new, like 4 months old. Under warranty, but these are not compressors you can go to like Home Depot and buy. These are directly from Italy, and they power nitrogen, high pressure tanks, low pressure tanks, generators, and they take the air that we're breathing right now and converts oxygen into 99% purity nitrogen. And that's what powers our lasers. Well, this key piece of machinery dies at the perfect time, which is fourth quarter. And that is really what carries the weight of the business. So fourth quarter for us is typically 2 to 3 times revenue than other quarters. Fourth quarter for us in 2018 was it was our best fourth quarter we'd ever had. Now at this time we were only 2.5 years, 3 years old as a business, just moved into our 110,000 square foot facility, and this perfect shitstorm happens. So the first thing that I did was, all right, redundancy. While we're trying to get this fixed, figure out what I can do with this warranty machine. Let me go ahead and buy another screw compressor, right? So I bought another screw compressor, put it into place, which those, by the way, are like $50,000. So it's not like a quick fix. We ended up having water in the lines, ended up damaging, I think, 1 or 2 laser heads. And at that time, we had 4 lasers. So half of my capacity was now down. We were relying on, so we finally fixed some of the air issues with that fix. And all that to say, it became the perfect storm that you couldn't even like out of your control, right? I mean, you find a fix, this ended up happening, now what's the fix? And it's like, all right, let me buy this. This is, then this gets installed. Shit, we broke 2 freaking heads on lasers. All right, let's call IPG. Well, they can't get down here until 10 days. All right, now what? 10 days goes by. Yep, something's wrong with the line. We have to replace this, but it's going to take 2 weeks. And that's all kind of stuff that is just out of your control. And I swear to God, every entrepreneur goes through this. Here's the challenge. I look like the Grinch. And I did not want to be the Grinch. I wanted to be Santa Claus. I wanted to be Oprah. Here, you have this, you have this, you have this. But my challenge was everybody's looking at me as if I did something wrong and there was no integrity behind what we were doing. That was the hardest part, man, is like questioning my integrity behind it. When I feel confident, and all this happened, by the way, like, I think it was like first or second part into November. And we thought we could fix it by putting up that other compressor. And so these redundancies that you put in place, a lot of times they just continue to fail. And it really comes down to how fast can you pivot and just show up every single day. When you don't feel like showing up, show up anyway. I remember, I got blown up in Afghanistan. Honest to God, I would rather get blown up in Afghanistan again than to go through that again. But I'll say this, that setback was a massive setup for our future. We ended up having about 60% of our staff ended up quitting. 2 of my primary supervisors left to start their own company to compete against us. And I did not have any management that was higher level. And I was out there packing boxes 7 days a week, whatever it takes. I'm just going to keep doing it. And there wasn't like, mentally, I was like, all right, this sucks. But you know what? There's 40% of the people that are still here. I'm going to keep showing up. And over time, it ended up being one of the best things for us. I ended up hiring the recruiting firm exactly after that. I want to find people not where I'm at today, but where I want to be. If I want to be $1 billion company, I've got to hire and I got to have the mindset of the framework of where I want to be within that time frame. And so, like, these doors that you just never envision happening, it opened up abruptly, very, very fast. And that setback is now one of the best setups that is for my future. And I wouldn't change anything about it, but I sure as shit wouldn't want to go back to that point either. So,
no, that's extremely humbling, probably what you went through. But it's awesome to see that you can go through it, get out of it, and then strive. So, thank you for sharing that. If I have time for one last question, I just recently finished a book. Tim Grover. It's called Winning. And he was Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's ex personal development coach who wrote the book. But he said he asked Michael Jordan, "What does winning mean to you in one word or less?" And Michael Jordan said everything. He asked Kobe what winning means. Kobe said nasty and hard. If you could, in a few words or less, what does winning mean to you? If you can give me a few words for that, that'd be cool to see your mentality.
Oh man, that's tough. Shit. I guess if one word would be fulfilled. I'm very purpose driven. Everything is extremely methodical. I I mean, I already know 10 years from now what's going to happen or where I envision. And everything is based on, for me, inner peace. Do I enjoy what I do? The minute that I check out and I'm at boardroom meetings and I'm doing shit that I don't want to do, I'm done. I'm just going to check out, move to something else. So I would say purpose and inner peace, that's extremely important to me. It's not financial. It's nothing from a financial standpoint of, oh, I want to be a $1 billion company and I want to be the first ever billionaire in Alabama. No, it's not. I mean, obviously, like, I want to challenge myself to do that. But at the same time, I think it's very important for me that every single day I should be able to wake up and genuinely want to do something, not have to. Big difference between I want to do this versus I have to do this. And so that's really the place in my life where I would love to be. I'm not there, guys. Like, I'm personally still struggle with that. I'm doing so much that people just have no clue on the outside. Every single email segmentation that goes out, every single SMS, every single organic post. I'm doing all of that shit on the back end. Like, I'm in Alabama, there's not a ton of marketers here. I'm having to like find and scout people. I like to work. I like culture, very important to me, but like bringing great people around us, like Roland and Jeff and David and Jacob, Sean. There's so many people in my organization that make a significant impact, especially on the marketing and sales side, that I couldn't do it without them, but it's challenging at the same time. But I thrive under these challenges. And for me, purpose. And I'm curious, what about you?
For me, winning has always been reality. And so it's, you know, a lot of what we do and a lot of what I feel like we're always chasing is something that we're kind of like, you know, either daydreaming about or thinking about. And I feel like for me, winning is when I can take those thoughts, those daydreams, and those, you know, even night dreams and say, I turn it into reality. Whatever it means, like you said, it's not financial. It's not, you know, XYZ. It's whatever I thought about. If I was able to turn it into reality, win or lose on the outcome of that reality, the fact that I could do that is winning for me.
Amen, brother. All right, so now I've got a question for you. What do you want to be known for after you pass away? Hard question.
Yeah, it's a very hard question. I would like to be known for the fact that whoever I got to interact with, anyone that I got to talk or anyone who got to maybe watch a podcast of mine or something, anyone that I had a touch point with, that I was able to give them some sort of value in their life, whether it's personal, professional, friendship, whatever it was, that they could look back and say, oh, knowing Ron, man, I got some value out of that relationship. I got some value out of that person. What they did with that value, you know, not in my control, but I want to be known as someone that if you were able to, you know, possibly, you know, I got the honor to meet you, or you got the honor to meet me, whatever it may be, that you walk away at least with knowing that, hey, I was able to get value from him. And I think that's the biggest thing that's become purpose for me is, you know, even how we're building our current company around just a community, right? It's just everything is built around this Facebook group of helping now 200,000 people. That's our biggest purpose is are we providing you value? We'll make money and all that on the back end if we follow this one journey of can we provide value? And I think it's exactly what you're doing, even with this Colin with Colin. You truly just want to provide value, and you're not asking for anything in return yet. You know, that's what I want to be known for. Is I didn't ask for anything, but I was able to give you something.
Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with your friends. And every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a new episode drops. Also, you can be on the show. If you go to invite.millionairecreator.com, you can apply. It's free, and you may have a chance to be on the show with me, Colin with Colin. Be sure to share this video, and if you do, we may reshare your post. Also, if you enjoy entrepreneurship just like I do, I would encourage you to go to our new website, millionairecreator.com. We have some incredible products from steel merchandise, canvas, apparel, and education courses, ebooks, and physical books. So guys, millionairecreator.com, check it out for yourself. I know you'll love it, especially for all of those entrepreneurs out there. Think of me as a recruiter, and I'm building an army of millionaires in this Millionaire Creator journey. I'm Colin Wayne, your instructor from Millionaire Creator, and someone that has been to war, that's battle tested, bootstrapping my business to over 150,000 square feet, and the fastest growing company in the state of Alabama. For the first time ever, I'm here to reveal my tactics and strategies that work in today's state, not something that worked years ago. Boot camp starts today. Stop wasting time. Click that link.
Boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted,